Ethan Brooks slammed his fist into the steering wheel so hard, the horn blasted across the resort parking lot. 22 years of Navy discipline, 3 deployments, 2 combat citations. And here he was, 41 years old, shaking in a rental car, because his 7-year-old daughter had just asked him, "Daddy, why doesn't Mommy ever call anymore?" He pressed his forehead against the wheel. He would not cry. He would not. But what he didn't know, what he couldn't possibly know, was that 3 days from now, a woman he'd barely spoken to back home would say 7 words on a beach that would crack him wide open. 7 words he'd remember for the rest of his life. Where are you watching from today? Drop your city in the comments so I know how far this story has traveled. And if stories about strong men learning to feel again mean something to you, hit that subscribe button. You do not want to miss what Claire Morgan said next. Ethan Brooks didn't lift his head from the steering wheel until he heard the soft click of the passenger seatbelt. "Daddy!" Lily's voice was small, careful, the way it had been every day for 3 years now. "Did I say something wrong?" He inhaled through his nose, held it. Let it out slow the way the Navy chaplain had taught him back in Norfolk. "No, baby." He forced himself upright, forced the smile onto his face. "No, you didn't say anything wrong. Daddy's tired from the drive, that's all." Lily stared at him with those huge brown eyes. Her mother's eyes. Sarah's eyes. The eyes that used to look at him like he was the whole world before she decided the whole world wasn't enough. "We drove for a really long time," Lily said. "Yeah, we did. Can I have a juice box now?" And just like that, the moment passed. That was the thing about 7-year-olds Ethan had learned. They walked right up to the edge of your grief, looked over, and then asked for a juice box. God bless them for it. "Juice box is in the blue cooler, sweetheart, but let's get inside first." "Okay, Daddy's gotta check us in." "Okay." She unclipped her belt, paused, looked at him again. "Daddy?" "Yeah." "I love you." Ethan closed his eyes. "I love you too, Lilybug. More than all the stars. More than the ocean. More than the ocean. More than everything, baby. Come on, let's go." Crescent Bay Resort was the kind of place Ethan Brooks would never have picked for himself. All glass and white wood and wind chimes and women in linen pants drinking green juice. His commanding officer had practically ordered him to come. "Brooks, you've got 4 weeks of leave stacked up, and you haven't used a vacation day since your wife left. The retreat is partly work, partly recharge. Bring the kid. That's an order." So here he was, partly work, partly recharge. Mostly pretending. He was halfway across the lobby with Lily's hand in his and a duffel bag over his shoulder when he heard the voice behind him. Ethan Brooks." He turned. And for a second, just a second, his brain refused to make sense of what his eyes were seeing. Because Claire Morgan, his neighbor from 3 doors down on Juniper Lane, was standing in the lobby of Crescent Bay Resort in a white sundress, her dark hair pulled back, sunglasses pushed up on her head. Claire Morgan, who'd lived across the fence from him for 2 years, who'd brought over banana bread exactly 1 time after Sarah left, and then disappeared back behind her garden like she regretted it, who never made small talk, who waved but didn't stop, who he was pretty sure didn't actually like him, that Claire Morgan was now smiling at him, actually smiling. "Claire." He blinked. What are you doing here? Same thing as you, I'd guess." She tilted her head toward the front desk. "Company retreat. My firm rented out half the East Wing." "Your firm?" "Morgan and Associates. Small architecture outfit. We're kind of attached to the hip with the contractor your Navy folks use for family housing upgrades. It's how they got us the rate." Huh. It was all Ethan could manage. He realized, staring. I had no idea you'd be here." "Neither did I." Her eyes dropped to Lily, and her whole face changed. The polite mask melted. Something warmer came through. "And who is this young lady?" "I'm Lily." Lily tugged on her father's hand. "I'm 7. We live next to your yellow house." Claire laughed, and it was a real laugh, not the clipped little thing Ethan had heard from her over the fence. You absolutely do. I see you on the swing set almost every day, don't I? You wave sometimes. I do wave sometimes. Daddy says you're real private. Lily. Ethan's face burned. Honey, we don't. But Claire was laughing again. Your daddy's right. I am real private. She crouched down so she was eye level with Lily. But you know what, on vacation people can be a little less private. That's what vacations are for. I like your sandals. I like your whole outfit. Where'd you get that shirt? Target. Excellent taste. Ethan watched the two of them, and something in his chest did a slow, strange turn. Sarah had been gone 3 years. 3 years, 4 months, and 11 days. And in all that time, he had never seen his daughter light up talking to a woman who wasn't a teacher or a grandmother or a cashier at the grocery store. Claire straightened up. Her eyes found his. You look exhausted, Ethan. Drove 11 hours. With a 7-year-old. With a 7-year-old. Good God! She shook her head. Get checked in. Let me know if you need anything. I mean it. Anything. I'm in 214. Claire, you don't have to. I'm not doing it because I have to. She adjusted the bag on her shoulder. I'm doing it because I want to. There's a difference. And then she was gone, walking toward the front desk with that straight-backed Claire Morgan walk he recognized from the sidewalk back home. Except now, for the first time, he noticed the sway of the dress, the tan of her shoulders. He stopped himself. Hard. Daddy. Lily was pulling on his hand. You're staring. I am not staring. You're staring at Miss Claire. Lily, can we please just get to the room? Okay, but you were staring. The room was better than he expected. 2 queen beds, sliding glass door onto a little balcony, a view of the palm trees, and past them just a strip of blue ocean. Lily charged straight for the bed nearest the window and flung herself onto it. Daddy, this is the best place. Yeah. Can we go swim? Let me unpack first, baby. 20 minutes. 10 minutes. 15. Deal. He smiled, actually smiled first time that day, and started pulling clothes out of the duffel. Lily bounced on the bed, kicked off her shoes, grabbed the remote, and started clicking through cartoons. And Ethan stood at the little desk by the window folding her tiny t-shirts into the drawer, and thought about the fact that he hadn't folded a woman's shirts in 3 years, 4 months, and 11 days. His phone buzzed on the desk. Mom. Did you make it? Ethan. Just got in. Lily's bouncing off the walls. Mom? Good. You sound better already? Ethan. I haven't said anything yet. Mom. You used punctuation. That's how I know. He laughed out loud. Lily looked over. What's funny? Grandma's being grandma. Tell her I say hi. Ethan. Lily says hi. Mom. Tell her Grandma loves her more than all the stars. Ethan. She'll say more than the ocean. Mom. More than the ocean, tell her. Ethan set the phone down, rubbed his face with both hands. Daddy. Lily had rolled onto her stomach, chin propped on her fists. Is Miss Claire going to be here the whole time? I guess so. If her company's here for the retreat. Is she married? Ethan paused, slowly. I don't know, baby. She doesn't wear a ring. I looked. Lily. What I just looked. Okay. Well, it doesn't really matter if she is or isn't okay. She's our neighbor. She's Daddy's neighbor. That's all. But what if she's nice? Like really nice? Lily. I'm just saying. He turned to face her. She was watching him with that serious little expression she got sometimes, the one that reminded him she was a lot smarter than 7-year-olds were supposed to be. Sweetheart, listen to me. I'm listening. Daddy's job right now is to take care of you. That's it. That's the whole job. Okay. Okay. So we're not gonna do anything except have a fun vacation. Go swim, eat ice cream, go to bed early so we can wake up and swim some more. That's the plan. Is that the whole plan? That's the whole plan. She considered him, then nodded solemnly. Okay, Daddy. Thank you. But Miss Claire is really nice. Lily. I'm done. I'm done. He shook his head, turned back to the duffel, and tried to pretend his neck wasn't warm. The restaurant downstairs was crowded that first evening. Half the tables taken up by his Navy people, the other half by what he now knew was Claire's architecture firm. Ethan sat at a two-top by the window, with Lily cutting her chicken into pieces, while she chattered about the pool. And there's a slide, Daddy, a big one, not a baby slide. You saw it already. From the hallway window, and there's a thing you can jump off, like a rock. A diving rock. A diving rock, yeah. Well, we can't jump off it unless you show me you can swim the width of the pool first, remember? I can. Prove it tomorrow. Then we jump. Deal. He smiled, took a sip of his water, glanced up. And there was Claire, 2 tables away, sitting with 3 other people from her firm. She was laughing at something. Her hand was on the wine glass. Her hair was down now. She caught his eye across the room. She smiled. He nodded. It was the smallest possible exchange. A half-second, maybe. And then she was back to her conversation, and he was back to his chicken. But something had happened in that half-second. He didn't know how to name it. He wasn't sure he wanted to name it. Daddy? Lily's voice muffled through a mouthful of macaroni. She waved at you. She did not wave. She smiled. That's like a wave. Eat your food, please. Daddy. What baby? Lily swallowed, set her fork down, folded her little hands in her lap like she was about to give a speech, and she said, Mommy's not coming back, is she? Ethan's world tilted. He set his own fork down, very carefully. Lily. I was thinking, because you said Mommy's in Seattle now, and she has a new husband, and they have a baby. Yes. And the baby's name is Micah. Yes, baby. So she's not coming back. He reached across the table, took her little hand. It was sticky with butter. No, sweetheart. She's not coming back. But she still loves you. She calls. She sends you. She doesn't call that much Daddy. I know. It's okay. Lily shrugged. She actually shrugged. I was just checking. Lilybug. Can I have ice cream? You can have any ice cream in the world. Can I have 2 scoops? You can have 3 scoops. Deal. He signaled the waitress, ordered the ice cream, kept his hand around his daughter's until the dessert arrived. Didn't look up. Didn't want anyone to see his eyes. He didn't realize Claire was watching the whole time from 2 tables over. That night, after Lily had fallen asleep with chocolate on her chin, Ethan stepped out onto the little balcony alone. The air was warm. He could hear the ocean faint maybe a quarter mile away. He leaned on the railing and let his head hang. He hadn't cried in 3 years. He wasn't going to cry now. He was a chief petty officer. He was a father. He was the guy his men called when they were in trouble and couldn't call anyone else. He didn't cry. He didn't. His phone buzzed. He pulled it out. Unknown number, local area code. Unknown. This is Claire. I got your number from the company directory. I'm in your retreat group technically. Hope that's not weird. I just wanted to say I saw you and Lily at dinner. She's a beautiful kid, and you're doing a really good job even when it doesn't feel like it. He read it twice. 3 times. 4. He typed back slowly. Ethan. Thank you. He stared at it. Deleted it. Typed again. Ethan. Thank you, Claire. I don't know what you saw, but thank you. Some days I'm not sure I'm doing any kind of a job. 3 dots appeared. Disappeared. Appeared again. Claire. I saw a man who didn't let go of his daughter's hand for 10 minutes while she asked him hard questions. That's the job. That's the whole job. He closed his eyes. Ethan. I don't usually talk to you this much. Claire. I know. Ethan? I thought you didn't like me. Claire. I know that too. Ethan. Did you not like me? Long pause. Claire. It was more complicated than that. Ethan. What does that mean, Claire? It means ask me on the beach tomorrow, not on a phone. He stared at the screen until it went dark. Then he looked out at the dark palm trees and the invisible ocean beyond them, and for the first time since Sarah had packed her car and driven away, Ethan Brooks felt something he didn't have a name for. It wasn't hope. It was too small for hope, but it was something. He didn't sleep much. He lay in the dark next to his daughter's sleeping breath and stared at the ceiling, and ran through every interaction he could remember with Claire Morgan over the last 2 years. The banana bread. The polite waves. The one time she'd helped him drag his trash can back up the driveway when he'd been deployed for the weekend, and the neighborhood kids had knocked it over. The Christmas card she'd stuck in his mailbox with just her name, no message. It was more complicated than that. He kept hearing her voice saying it in his head. At some point near 3 in the morning, Lily rolled over and mumbled, "Daddy." "Yeah, baby." "Don't leave." "I'm not leaving, sweetheart. I'm right here." "Okay." She was out again inside of 10 seconds. Ethan lay there and thought, I am not going to do this. I am not going to fall for my neighbor. I have a daughter who just asked me if her mother is coming back. I have a job. I have a life that has exactly enough room for exactly one person who is 7 years old. That's it. That's the plan. That was the plan. Kent. At 7:30 in the morning, Lily shook him awake by the shoulder. "Daddy, Daddy, Daddy, it's beach day." "Baby, it's early." "It's beach day." Okay. Give me 5. 2. 4. 3. Lily. Deal. He laughed, sat up, rubbed his eyes. And the first thought that arrived unbidden and unwelcome wasn't about the beach or the sunscreen, or whether he'd packed the right floaties. It was, will she be there? He shook it off, put his feet on the floor, put his shoulders back. Navy Chief Petty Officer Ethan Brooks, 41 years old. Single father of 1, did not fall for his neighbor. That was the plan. That had always been the plan. And 20 minutes later, when he walked down to the beach with Lily's hand in his, and a blanket over his shoulder, and he saw Claire Morgan already sitting on a towel near the water with a book in her lap, the plan started to come apart at the seams. She looked up. She smiled. And Ethan Brooks, who had stared down live fire in the Gulf of Aden and hadn't flinched, felt his heart do something it had not done in 3 years, 4 months, and 12 days. It skipped. Just once. Just a little. But it skipped. Claire watched them come down the path. She didn't wave. She didn't stand up. She just watched with that same still careful way she had back home when she looked up from her garden and saw him pulling into his driveway. Lily spotted her first. "Daddy. Daddy, there's Miss Claire, there she is. Can I go say hi? Can I?" "Walk, Lily. Don't run on the sand, you'll..." She ran on the sand. Ethan sighed, followed. He got to the towel about 4 seconds after his daughter, and by then Lily had already planted herself next to Claire and was explaining something involving a seashell she hadn't found yet. "And it's gonna be the biggest one, Miss Claire, bigger than my hand, and I'm gonna..." "Bigger than your hand," Claire repeated, serious. "That's a real commitment." "I know. Have you scouted your area yet?" "My what?" "Your search area. Before a big hunt, you gotta pick your territory. That way you don't waste steps." Lily's eyes went wide. "I did not think of that." Rookie mistake. We'll fix it." Ethan stood there holding the blanket like an idiot. Claire finally looked up at him. "You gonna sit down, sailor, or you gonna loom?" "I was gonna loom a little longer. Sit down, Ethan." He sat down. She was in a dark blue one-piece swimsuit today, a straw hat beside her on the sand, her legs stretched out. She closed her book. He caught a glimpse of the cover, something about lighthouses, and set it aside. "Morning," she said. "Morning." "You sleep?" "Some." "Liar." "A little." "Better." Lily had moved on already, was digging a hole with her hands about 3 feet away, muttering to herself about scouting. Ethan watched her a moment, then turned his face toward the water. He couldn't look at Claire directly. He didn't know why. Or he did know why, and he didn't want to admit it. "So," he said. "So. You said I should ask you on the beach." "I did say that." "Am I asking—" Claire didn't answer right away. She pulled her knees up, wrapped her arms around them, looked out at the horizon. "2 years ago," she said quietly, "your wife pulled into the driveway in a U-Haul." Ethan's stomach turned over. "I remember," she said. "It was a Tuesday. I was watering the roses. She had her sister with her, and they were loading boxes, and you weren't home yet. I think you were on a deployment. And she saw me watching, and she waved, and I waved back, and I thought that poor man doesn't know yet." "Claire, let me finish." She didn't look at him. "3 days later you pulled in. I saw your car. I saw you sit in the driveway for 20 minutes before you got out. And then I saw you walk up to your own front door, like you were walking into a building that was on fire. And you opened the door, and you went inside, and I stood at my kitchen window, and cried for a stranger for the first time in my adult life." Ethan didn't trust his voice. He cleared his throat anyway. "I didn't know anyone saw that." "I saw it." "Why didn't you say anything?" She finally turned to look at him. "Because you would have hated me for it." "Claire, I wouldn't. You would have." "Ethan? I know what it looks like when a man is holding himself together with baling wire and stubbornness. My father was that man. My first husband was that man. I know when somebody needs space, and when they need casserole, and you needed space. So I gave you space. And I waited. And I watched a little from the yard because I wanted to know you were okay. That's why the banana bread. That's why the banana bread. And the trash can. And the trash can. And the Christmas card with no message." She almost smiled. "I wrote 3 drafts of that card, Ethan. 3. I threw them all out. Ended up just signing my name because anything else felt like too much." He sat with that. He looked at his hands on his knees. The sand had gotten on his shins already. Lily was humming to herself a few feet away. The waves kept coming in and going out, and none of it cared about anything they were saying. "I thought you hated me," he said finally. "I know. I thought you were stuck up." "I know. I used to tell myself that woman doesn't like anybody. It's not personal." "Ethan, it was so personal." His head came up. Her face was completely still. No performance, no softening. Just a woman who'd apparently been carrying something for 2 years, saying it out loud for the first time on a beach, to a man in a navy ball cap who didn't know where to put his hands. "Oh," he said. "Yeah. Oh. Yeah, Ethan. Oh." He laughed. It came out cracked. A real laugh, though. The first one in a long time that wasn't for Lily's benefit. Claire shook her head. "God, I'm making a mess of this. I had a whole speech. I worked on it at 3 a.m. last night. Very dignified. Very measured. What happened to it? Your kid happened to it." She nodded toward Lily. "She told me I had nice sandals. Everything after that just sort of fell apart." "Yeah, she does that. She's wonderful. She's everything." Claire didn't say anything for a second. She just watched Lily with this soft look, not the polite look adults got when they were performing fondness for other people's kids, but the real one. The one that hurt a little to see, because it landed somewhere in Ethan. He hadn't let anything land in a long time. "I always wanted a daughter," Claire said quietly, almost like she hadn't meant to say it. Ethan turned his head toward her. She caught herself, waved a hand. "Forget I said that. That's no. I'm not putting that on you. That's my thing, not yours." "Claire." "Forget it, Ethan." "Is that why you and your husband—" "No." She shut it down fast, but not harshly. "We wanted kids. It didn't happen. Then he decided he didn't actually want kids, just wanted someone else's kids, preferably with an intern named Stacy. So," she exhaled. "That's a longer story for a longer day. I'm sorry. You don't have to be. It was 9 years ago, Ethan. I'm not bleeding from it anymore." "You were alone after that." "I wasn't alone. I had the firm. I had the dog until last year." "You had a dog. Buster, 12-year-old beagle, the love of my life." Her mouth tugged. He died last spring. I haven't gotten another one yet. I'm sorry. That one still hurts a little. Lily came running over right then, dumped a handful of sand into the space between them, and declared, I scouted. This is my territory. You guys are the perimeter. The perimeter, Claire repeated. Dad taught me that word. Your dad would. Lily looked at Claire, then at Ethan, then at Claire again. Her little face got very thoughtful. Miss Claire. Yes, baby. Are you sad? Ethan felt his ribs squeeze. Claire didn't flinch. She tilted her head, considered Lily seriously the way she'd consider a question at a conference table. A little bit, sweetheart. Not today. Today I'm happy, but sometimes. My daddy's sad sometimes too. Lily. What you are? Baby, that's a private... It's okay, Ethan. Claire's voice was very gentle. Her eyes didn't leave Lily's. Everyone's sad sometimes, Lily. Even people who look like they're not. Even grown-ups. Especially grown-ups. My mom doesn't call a lot. I heard. Dad doesn't think I know that makes him sad. But I know. You're a very smart girl, Lily. I'm 7. I believe it? Lily nodded, satisfied with herself, and went back to her scouted territory. Ethan didn't move. He didn't dare. Claire exhaled. Low, slow. Jesus, Ethan. Yeah. She's... I know. That kid is... I know Claire. They sat there. Neither of them spoke for maybe a minute, maybe longer. The waves did their thing. Lily hummed her way through construction. Somewhere down the beach, a gull screamed at another gull about something urgent and stupid. How do you do it? Claire said finally. Do what? Raise her, alone. While doing, she gestured vaguely at him, at everything. All of that. I don't know. That's not a real answer. It's the only real answer I have, Claire. I wake up. I make her breakfast. I go to work. I come home. I make her dinner. I read her a book. I put her to bed. I drink 1 beer. I go to sleep. And I get up and I do it again. I don't think about it. If I think about it, I can't do it. So I don't think about it. Does that work? Most days. What happens on the days it doesn't? I lock myself in this bathroom for 10 minutes and put my face under cold water and tell myself to get it together. Ethan? It works. Ethan, that's not... It's what I have, Claire. She reached out. She didn't take his hand. She just put her fingers lightly on the back of his wrist. Just there. Not holding. Not claiming. Just present. He didn't pull away. He didn't move at all, actually. He was afraid if he moved, she'd take her hand back, and he wasn't ready for her to take her hand back yet. You can't keep doing it that way forever, Claire said quietly. You know that, right? I don't know what other way there is. There are other ways. Show me one. She didn't answer. She just kept her fingers on his wrist. After a while, he couldn't have said how long she moved her hand away. Not abruptly. Not like she regretted it. Just like the moment had done what it was supposed to do, and now they were back to being 2 adults on a beach, and Lily was still digging, and the world was still turning. I'm not trying to fix you, Claire said. Good. I don't need fixing. You don't. You really don't, Ethan. But for what it's worth, I see you. I've been seeing you from across a fence for 2 years, and the thing you think nobody notices. People notice. Which thing is that? All of it. How you carry her backpack even when she says she can do it herself. How you wave at the neighborhood kids when you drive by. How you cut your grass in a perfect pattern because your dad used to cut it that way and you can't bring yourself to change it. How do you know that? You told the guy across the street, last summer, at the block party I didn't go to. Mrs. Henley told me. Mrs. Henley talks too much. Mrs. Henley is my best source. He laughed. It was easier this time. Claire, I can't believe we're having this conversation. Me either. I've lived 3 doors down from you for 2 years, and I don't think we've said this many words to each other in total. We haven't. What changed? I don't know. The ocean, maybe. The whole being away from the street. The street has a gravity. When you're on that street, you're the widower in 417 and the divorcee in 413, and we both have our roles and we keep to them. She gestured at the water. Out here there's no street. There's just us. Us. Yeah. I'm not ready for an us, Claire. I didn't ask you to be. I mean it. Ethan, I know, I'm not asking. I'm just telling you, I'm not going anywhere. He stared at her. What does that mean? It means that whatever this is, if it's nothing, it's nothing. If it's something, it's something. I'm not in a hurry. I'm 43 years old and I don't hurry. I waited 2 years to bring you casserole. I can wait however long you need me to wait. What I'm not going to do anymore is stand behind a fence and pretend I don't see you. He didn't know what to say to that. He opened his mouth, closed it, opened it again. Daddy! Lily shouted. Can we go in the water? He looked at his daughter. He looked at Claire. Yeah, baby, he said. Let's go in the water. Lily let out a war cry and tore off toward the shore. Ethan stood up. His knees felt strange. His whole body felt strange. Claire didn't move. You coming? He asked. In a minute. You go. Claire. Go get your kid, Ethan. I'll be right here. He went. He ran into the shallows with his daughter, and Lily shrieked as the cold water hit her knees, and he picked her up and spun her once, and she laughed the laugh. He lived for the real one, the one that made the whole 3 years, 4 months, and 12 days feel like something other than a slow death march. And when he turned around waist-deep in the water with his daughter on his hip, Claire was still sitting on the towel arms around her knees, watching them with an expression he wasn't going to be able to stop thinking about all night. She raised one hand. Not a wave, just there. He nodded. Lily splashed him in the face and yelled something about a crab, and the moment broke, and he let it break because that was the job. Take care of the kid. Be here for the kid. The kid comes first. The kid is the whole plan. But when he walked back up to the towel 20 minutes later, with Lily dripping and giggling on his shoulders, Claire was still there. She had a juice box out of her own bag that she offered to Lily without asking, and Lily took it like they'd been doing this for years, and Ethan stood there looking at the two of them, and felt something in his chest. He wasn't going to name, not today, not yet. Claire glanced up at him. Sit down, sailor. He sat down, and Ethan Brooks. Chief Petty Officer, 41 years old. Single father of one, who had spent 3 years and 4 months and 12 days, carefully not wanting anything. He couldn't have sat on a towel between his 7-year-old daughter and the woman from 3 doors down. And for the first time in a very long time, didn't reach for his phone, didn't check his watch, didn't think about the next thing. He just sat. Lily drank her juice box. Claire turned a page of her book, and the tide kept coming in. They stayed on the beach until noon. Lily made 3 castles, destroyed 2 of them on purpose. Declared the third one a fortress, and filled the moat with juice box water. Claire helped. Ethan watched. He watched more than he should have. He knew it. He couldn't help it. There was something about the way Claire got down on her knees in the sand next to his daughter that did something to him. She wasn't performing it. She wasn't doing the adult playing with kid routine where every move was for the benefit of watching parents. She was actually building a sandcastle with a 7-year-old and taking it seriously. She was arguing with Lily about whether the tower should have windows. Windows, Miss Claire, come on. Lily, if it's a fortress, you don't want windows. Windows are weaknesses. But how will the princesses see out? Arrow slits. What are arrow slits? Little narrow windows you can shoot arrows out of, but nobody can shoot arrows back in. Oh my God. Lily language. Sorry, Daddy, but Miss Claire, arrow slits. Arrow slits, Claire confirmed. Dad, did you know about arrow slits? I did, baby. And you didn't tell me. I was saving them for your birthday. Dad. Claire laughed out loud then. It was the first full laugh Ethan had heard out of her. Not the careful little ones from earlier, but a real belly laugh, head thrown back, eyes crinkled. And he caught himself staring at her throat, at the line of her collarbone, at the way her whole body shook with it. And he looked away so fast he almost gave himself whiplash. He told himself it was because he was being respectful. He knew it wasn't because he was being respectful. Daddy? I'm hungry. You're always hungry, Lilybug. I'm 7. I need food. We can go up for lunch in a minute. Miss Claire, are you coming? Ethan's head snapped toward his daughter. Lily, Miss Claire might have plans. I don't have plans, Claire said. Claire, you don't have to. I don't have plans, Ethan. I was going to read this book and eat a granola bar. You can't have a granola bar, Lily said, scandalized. That's not a lunch. It's a snack bar for active adults. That's not a lunch, Miss Claire. Claire looked at Ethan, raised an eyebrow. Apparently I'm coming to lunch. Apparently. Yay. Lily was already on her feet, throwing her shovel in the bucket, shaking sand off her bathing suit. Miss Claire, you can sit next to me. Well, obviously. They packed up the towels. Ethan carried them. Claire carried her book and her hat. Lily walked between them, holding both of their hands, swinging her arms like they were her personal swing set. Ethan caught Claire's eye over the top of Lily's head. He didn't know what his face did. Whatever it was, Claire's face did something back. Not quite a smile. Just a look. Quiet. Steady. A look that said, I see what's happening. I'm not going to make it weird. Just keep walking. So he kept walking. Lunch was at the little beachside cafe that was part of the resort plastic table's paper menus, a ceiling fan that wobbled. Lily ordered a cheeseburger without the onions and extra pickles the way she always did, and Claire ordered a Cobb salad and an iced tea, and Ethan had a club sandwich that he didn't really taste. So how'd you end up in the Navy? Claire asked in the middle of lunch. Family business, kind of. My dad was Navy. His dad was Navy. And now Lily's gonna be Navy, Lily said through a mouthful of burger. Lily, we've talked about this. You can be whatever you want to be. I want to be Navy. Okay, baby. Or a marine biologist. Also great. Or a dentist. Ethan blinked at her. A dentist. Because they make a lot of money. Lacey's dad is a dentist, and they have a pool. Claire was trying very hard not to laugh. Ethan could see her shoulders shaking. Well, he said slowly, dentists are important. That's a respectable profession. Right. You can absolutely be a dentist, baby. Okay. Lily took another bite of her burger. But probably Navy. Probably Navy, Ethan agreed. Claire finally lost it. She covered her mouth with her napkin. I'm sorry, she said. I'm sorry. The pool, the whole pool rationale, it's solid reasoning, Ethan said. It is, Claire managed. It absolutely is. I've never had career advice presented with a cost-benefit analysis by a 7-year-old before. I'm very mature, Lily said. I can see that. Daddy says I'm formidable. That is the exact word for you, Lily. Ethan watched them. He watched Claire laugh and his daughter beam and the whole little absurd moment play out, and he thought this isn't supposed to be happening. Not this fast. Not this easy. He wasn't supposed to feel this okay in the middle of a Tuesday with a woman he barely knew, eating a club sandwich he wasn't tasting, watching his daughter fall in like with someone for the first time since her mother left. It was supposed to be harder than this. It was supposed to hurt more. It was supposed to feel wrong. It didn't feel wrong. That was the problem. After lunch, Lily announced she needed a nap, announced it like she'd held a meeting and came to a decision, and Ethan walked her back to the room. Claire walked with them to the elevator. I'll be on the beach later, Claire said. If you want to come back down? Claire. What? You're being nice. I am being nice. Why? She looked at him a long second. The elevator dinged open. Because I want to Ethan. And she walked off toward her own room. Lily fell asleep within 90 seconds of hitting the pillow. Ethan pulled the curtains, set the room temperature to 70, and sat on the edge of his own bed with his hands on his knees and tried very hard to breathe like a normal person. He was not being a normal person. He knew it. He thought about calling his mother. He didn't call his mother. He thought about calling his buddy Marcus from the unit. He didn't call Marcus either. He thought about texting Claire to say what he didn't know, and he didn't do that either. He just sat there. And after a while, he picked up his phone and found himself without really deciding to going back through every text Claire had ever sent him. There weren't many. 2 years worth, and he could count them on 2 hands. Your sprinkler's on, just FYI. Your Amazon package got left at my door, come by whenever. Heard Lily made the soccer team, tell her congratulations from me. He read them again. Small things. Neighborly things. The kind of texts anyone would send. Except she'd known Lily made the soccer team. Which meant she'd been paying attention to his kid. Which meant she'd been paying attention to him at least enough to notice his daughter's triumphs. Which meant maybe she'd been telling the truth on the beach. It was so personal. He put the phone down face up on the nightstand. Face up because he didn't want to feel like he was hiding it. Hiding it from who he couldn't have said. Himself, probably. He stared at the ceiling for a while. Lily slept for almost 2 hours. When she woke up, she sat straight up in bed like someone had rung a bell. Daddy. Beach. Baby, you just... Beach. Okay. Let me get the... Now, Daddy. Lily let Daddy put on sunscreen. You can sunscreen on the beach. Give me 10 minutes. 3, 7, 5, final offer. Deal. She was pulling on her swimsuit before he finished the sentence. He watched her, and something in his chest did the thing again. The skip thing. The thing he wasn't supposed to feel anymore because he'd supposedly put it away. And he realized, and this was the part he wasn't going to tell anyone, not even himself, not out loud, that his daughter wasn't pulling on her swimsuit because she loved the ocean. She was pulling on her swimsuit because Claire was on the beach, and he knew it, and he was doing it too. The beach in the afternoon was louder than it had been in the morning. More families, more umbrellas. The air had that heavier, slow, sun-cooked feel. Ethan spotted Claire from a good 50 yards off the same spot as this morning, the same towel, the same straw hat beside her. She saw them coming and lifted her book like a little salute. Lily took off running again. Lily walk. Dad, it's sand, I can't fall on sand. You literally can fall on sand, it's how... But she was already halfway to Claire. When Ethan got there, Lily was already sitting cross-legged on the corner of Claire's towel, like she owned it. And Claire had put the book down, without any show of being interrupted, and they were deep into a conversation about whether mermaids were real. I think they might be real, Lily was saying. Just not where people look. Now that's an interesting theory. Because if they were in places people looked, people would have found them. You've thought about this. A lot. I respect that. Ethan sat down on his own towel. He pulled off his shirt. He was aware of it, pulling off his shirt in a way he hadn't been aware of doing that in a long time. He was aware of the scar on his shoulder, the one from the accident in San Diego, the one Sarah used to trace with her finger when she still loved him. He was aware of the fact that he was 41, and he wasn't 25, and his body wasn't 25 either. He was aware that Claire had glanced up when he did it. He pretended he wasn't aware of that. Ethan? Yeah. Stop overthinking. I wasn't. Ethan. Okay. Lily had moved on to a new project. She was collecting shells in a pile to grade them. She said a process that involved ranking each shell on criteria only she understood. Claire watched her for a moment, then turned her head slightly toward Ethan. Can I ask you something? Yeah. It's a little direct. I can tell by your face that it's a little direct. Are you okay? He paused. Right now. Generally, in your life. Are you okay? That's the direct question. That's the direct question, Ethan. He watched his daughter sort seashells. I don't know, Claire. Most days I think I am. Some days I don't know what the word means. That sounds about right. What does that mean? It means that's what being okay looks like when you're doing what you're doing. That's not okay. That's just honest. Honest. Yeah. He turned to look at her properly. And as he turned his whole body toward her, Claire shifted on her towel, reaching for her water bottle, and her shoulder strap on her swimsuit slipped. Not a catastrophe. Not a scene from a movie. Just a strap sliding down her shoulder the way a strap slides down a shoulder when someone moves too fast without thinking about it. She didn't notice right away. She kept reaching for the bottle. She unscrewed the cap. And Ethan? Ethan looked away. Fast. Too fast. Like he'd been caught at something. He fixed his eyes on the horizon and felt his face go hot, and felt his whole body lock up in that specific way. Bodies lock up when they've just done something that feels both correct and obvious, and also humiliating in a way that can't be explained. Claire noticed. Both things. The strap in him. She didn't fix the strap right away. Ethan. Yeah. Why did you just do that? Do what? Look away like that. Claire. I'm asking. He still wasn't looking at her. He was staring at a pelican on a post about 30 yards down the shoreline, like it was going to give him the answer to his life. Because, he said slowly, it was the right thing to do. Was it? Yes. Why? Because Claire, come on. Because you didn't know. Because you didn't mean for it to. Because it's not my... Ethan, look at me. He didn't look at her. Ethan? He looked at her. She had fixed the strap by then. She was sitting cross-legged on the towel, her water bottle in one hand, her hair loose around her face, her eyes steady on his. You don't have to look away, she said. Not from me. 5 words. That was all she said. She didn't elaborate. She didn't explain. She didn't turn it into anything bigger or smaller than it was. She just said the 5 words and let them sit there and took a sip of her water and let him sit with it. Ethan's ears were ringing. He didn't know if she meant it the way he'd taken it. He didn't know if she meant something else. He didn't know if she meant both or more, or if she'd even thought it through when she said it. He just knew that a woman he'd lived 3 doors down from for 2 years had just told him in broad daylight on a beach with his daughter 10 feet away, sorting seashells, that he didn't have to look away from her. Not from her. Specifically. He couldn't breathe. He tried to speak. Claire? Yeah, it's okay. I don't know what to do with that. You don't have to do anything with it, Ethan. That's the whole point. He stopped. Started again. For 3 years, I've been doing it so carefully. Claire. I've been so careful about what I look at, and what I think about, and where my mind goes. Because I can't, because I have her. Because if I let myself, I know. You don't know. Ethan, I do know. You can't possibly. I was married to a man for 11 years who decided 3 years in that he wanted someone else, and I spent the next 8 years convincing myself I didn't want anything at all. Because if you don't want anything, you can't lose anything. You know what I'm talking about, Ethan. He stared at her. Yes, he said finally. I know what you're talking about. So I do know. Claire, you don't have to look away from me, she said again, quieter this time. That's all. That's the whole sentence. I'm not asking you for anything else. He sat with it. He watched Lily down the beach 2 towels over now, grating her shells with the absolute focus of a Supreme Court justice. He looked back at Claire. I don't know how to do this, he said. I don't either. I'm supposed to be better at this. Why? Because I'm a grown man. I'm not going to do anything with this that you don't want me to do, Claire said. I'm not going to push you. I'm not going to show up at your door with an ultimatum. I'm just telling you while we're sitting here that I see you. And you don't have to look away from me, Ethan. You don't have to do that. Not with me. He swallowed. Okay, he said. His voice came out rough. Okay. That's all I needed to hear, sailor. She squeezed his hand once. Then she let go. She picked up her book again. She didn't make a big thing out of it. She just went back to reading like she hadn't just taken his whole life and rotated it about 9 degrees. Lily came running back a minute later with a fistful of shells. Dad, Miss Claire, I have the top 3. Dad, you're the judge. What am I judging? Which one wins? What do they win? Dad, that's not the point. Right, sorry. Show me the contenders. She showed him the contenders. He judged. Claire weighed in. A winner was declared. The winning shell was placed on Claire's towel for safekeeping. Lily ran back down to continue her research. Ethan didn't look at Claire for a long time after that. Not because he was looking away, because he was trying to hold on to what had just happened and he wasn't sure he could hold on to it and look at her at the same time. When he finally did look at her, she was reading her book. She turned a page. She didn't look up, but her hand was resting palm up on the towel between them, not reaching, not asking, just there, open. And Ethan sat with his own hands in his lap on a Tuesday afternoon with his daughter 10 feet away, grating seashells, and understood that some moment in his life had just ended, and some other one had just started, and he hadn't been the one who decided it. She had, and he hadn't looked away. He didn't take her hand. He couldn't quite make his body do it. He sat there and looked at that open palm and felt his own fingers flex in his lap, and the moment stretched out, and Claire kept reading her book, like the offer wasn't an offer at all, just a casual placement of one woman's hand on a towel on a Tuesday afternoon. Eventually, he couldn't have said how long Lily came running back for water and a protest about the unfair categorization of one of her shells, and Claire closed her book, and the moment wrapped itself up without him ever having to decide. Which was, maybe Ethan thought later, its own kind of mercy. They stayed on the beach until the sun started tipping west. Lily ran herself into the ground. Claire read 3 more chapters. Ethan drank too much water and didn't say much at all. Around 5, Claire stood up, shook the sand off her towel, and announced she had a work call at 6. On vacation, Ethan said. The firm doesn't entirely know the meaning of the word. I relate. I know you do, sailor. She packed up her things. Lily jumped up to help because Lily had decided at some point that morning that Miss Claire was now her personal responsibility. Claire let her help. She even handed Lily the straw hat to carry. I'll see you guys at dinner, Claire said. Probably. Ethan. Yeah. Probably. He caught himself. Yeah, dinner. Yes. Better. She winked at Lily and walked off, and Lily watched her go with an expression so transparent it physically hurt him. His daughter was falling for this woman. In the span of a day at 7 years old, his daughter had decided. Daddy. Yeah, baby. Is Miss Claire gonna have dinner with us? It sounds like she might. Yeah. Can she? If she wants to. Does she want to? He thought about the hand on the towel. I think she does, Lilybug. Okay. A pause. Daddy. Yeah. Do you want her to? The question hit him sideways. He looked down at his daughter, who was holding her bucket of shells against her hip, and looking at him with Sarah's eyes, and he did not have an answer for her. Come on, baby, let's go get cleaned up. Daddy, you didn't. Let's go, Lily. She didn't push it. She looked at him for a second longer, and then she started walking, and she didn't ask again. Which was somehow worse than if she had. Back in the room, he ran her a bath. He sat on the closed toilet lid with his phone in his hand and pretended to check emails while she splashed around and talked to herself about mermaids, and he stared at a blank screen without seeing it. His phone buzzed. It was Sarah. He nearly dropped it. Sarah. Hey, sorry I missed her last FaceTime. Things have been crazy here with Micah. Can I call her tonight, 8-ish my time? He read it 3 times. His jaw locked up the way it always did. Sarah's time. Sarah's life. Sarah's new baby. 3 years, 4 months, and 12 days of this, of her forgetting and apologizing, and not really apologizing and asking for accommodations, like she hadn't packed a U-Haul on a Tuesday in May and told him she needed more, and he wasn't ever going to be enough. Daddy. Yeah, baby. Who are you mad at? I'm not mad. Your face is mad. Finish your bath, Lily. He typed. Ethan. She's at a resort with me right now. She'll be in bed by 8 your time. Call her tomorrow. Morning's better. 3 dots. Sarah. A resort with you. You took her to a resort Ethan work retreat. Navy thing. She's having a great time. Sarah? Must be nice. He stared at the phone. Must be nice. He typed, deleted. Typed, deleted. Finally, Ethan. She'd love to hear from you tomorrow. I'll have her ready by 9 Pacific. Sarah, fine. Fine. He set the phone face down on the counter. Hard. Daddy. Yeah, Lily. Can I use the bubble stuff again? Sure, baby. A lot of bubble stuff. A lot of bubble stuff. Yes. He sat there and listened to her making a whale sound in the tub, and he thought about Sarah and about Claire, and about the distance between those two facts, and about how he was supposed to hold both of them in his head at the same time without coming apart. He didn't know. He didn't know, and he didn't know who to ask. Dinner was quiet. Claire came down around 7 in a pale green dress, and when she saw them already at the table, she made a little half bow and slid in across from Lily like she'd been expected, which she had. But she did it with the specific lightness of a woman who wasn't going to make it weird, and Ethan appreciated it more than he knew how to say. "Miss Claire, I had a bath." "I can tell. You smell amazing." "My dad put extra bubbles." "Your dad is a wise man." "Sometimes." Lily: "Sometimes, Daddy. I'm just being honest." Claire tried not to laugh and failed. They ordered. Lily got chicken fingers. Claire got fish. Ethan ordered a steak he didn't particularly want, and a beer he definitely wanted. "Rough afternoon?" Claire asked after the waitress left. "That obvious? You've got the jaw. The jaw. You do this thing." She gestured at her own face. "Right here. When something's wrong and you're not going to talk about it. You've noticed that. Over a fence, yes?" He almost smiled. Sarah texted. Claire's face did something careful. "Lily's mom." "Yeah, she wants to call." "That's good, though, isn't it? It's—" He glanced at Lily, who was deep into a conversation with her chicken finger. "It's complicated. She does it on her own schedule. Doesn't check with me first. Wants Lily available whenever it's convenient on her end. Hasn't called in." He counted backwards, 3 weeks. "Ethan?" "I know. 3 weeks. I know." "How does Lily—" "She doesn't ask mostly. She just stops asking. And then she'll say something at dinner about it like she did last night, and it'll rip my chest open for about 45 minutes, and then she'll ask for ice cream, and we keep going." Claire looked down at her water glass. She turned it slowly with 2 fingers. "Can I say something?" "Yeah." "It's not my place." "Say it anyway, Claire." "She's a very small person carrying a very big thing." "I know she is, and so are you." He looked at her. "And you don't get to put it down because nobody'll pick it up for you. But you don't have to carry it in silence. That's different." "I don't—" "I know. Ethan, I know. I'm not saying it to fix you. I'm saying it because I don't think anyone's said it to you in a while." He didn't answer. He couldn't actually. He nodded once, and he drank half his beer, and he went back to cutting up Lily's chicken into smaller pieces because the way she was holding her fork was going to cause an incident. Lily, for her part, had been listening. He could tell because she'd stopped chewing. She was watching her father over her plate with an expression that was he didn't have a word for it. Protective, maybe. A 7-year-old's version of protective. "Miss Claire?" "Yeah, Lily. My daddy's a really good dad." "I know he is, sweetheart." "Just so you know." "I know, Lily. I see it." Lily nodded satisfied and went back to her chicken. Ethan pressed his thumb against the bridge of his nose. "Jesus," he said, quietly, to himself. "Yeah," Claire said, just as quietly. After dinner, Lily wanted to walk to the little ice cream stand by the pool. They went. She got mint chip. Claire got lemon sorbet. Ethan didn't get anything. He stood there with his hands in his pockets and watched his daughter laugh about brain freeze and thought about how exactly he'd gotten to this specific Tuesday evening in his life. They walked Lily back to the room around 9. Lily kissed Claire's cheek at the door without asking. Without being prompted, just reached up and did it. And Claire froze for half a second, and then hugged the top of her head briefly and said, "Good night, formidable." And Lily giggled and ran inside. Claire and Ethan stood in the hallway. "I put her down in about 20 minutes, Ethan said. "Okay. If you wanted to, there's a little bench outside by the pool. If you weren't tired." "I'm not tired." "Okay. Text me when she's asleep." "Yeah. Okay. Okay." They stood there for another second. Neither of them moved. Then Claire reached up briefly, gently, and touched his arm just above the elbow. Not a squeeze, just a touch, just a pressing of her fingertips against his sleeve. Ethan. Yeah. Breathe. I am breathing. You're not. You're holding your breath. Breathe. He breathed. Better? Better. I'll see you in 20. She walked off down the hall. He watched her go, and then he turned and went inside and spent the next 19 minutes reading Lily 2 chapters of Charlotte's Web, while his whole chest did something he didn't recognize. Lily was asleep before the end of the 2nd chapter. He tucked her in. He put the nightlight on. He stood there a moment, watching her breathe that small, steady rise and fall he'd been watching for 7 years, and he thought about what Claire had said at dinner. A very small person carrying a very big thing. He turned off the bedroom light. He pulled the sliding door shut behind him carefully. He took the elevator down to the lobby, and he walked out to the pool area, and Claire was already on the bench, her legs crossed, her hands folded in her lap. She looked up when he sat down. Hi. Hi. She out? Like a light. Good. They sat there. The pool lights threw little ripples on the underside of the palm fronds. Somewhere far off, a band was playing at the main bar. The bass of it was the only thing you could really hear. Claire. Yeah. Can I ask you something? Yeah. Why are you doing this? She turned her head toward him. Doing what? This. Me. My kid. The everything. Why are you doing this? She didn't answer right away. She looked at the pool. Because I'm lonely, Ethan. It was so plain. She didn't dress it up. She just said it. Okay, he said. That's not the whole answer. But it's part of it. I'm 43. I've been alone for 9 years. And for most of those 9 years, I was telling myself I liked it. I convinced myself I was one of those women who just wasn't built for it, who was fine on her own. And I was fine mostly. Until last spring when Buster died. And then I wasn't fine. Claire, let me finish. I need to say this out loud once, and then I'm not going to say it again. He nodded. I sat in my kitchen for a week after I buried him. I mean it. I sat there. I went to work. I came home. I sat in my kitchen. I didn't cook. I didn't clean. I ordered Chinese food every night for 7 nights. And on the 7th night, I stood at my sink, and I looked out the window, and I saw your kitchen light on across the way. And I saw you doing dishes with Lily on a stool next to you, and she was drying while you washed. And I thought I'm going to go over there. And I actually put my shoes on, Ethan. I put my shoes on. I walked out my back door. I got halfway across the yard. And then I thought, what am I even going to say? And I turned around and went back. Claire. I stood in my own yard. Ethan and I cried for 20 minutes, and then I went inside, and I ate cold lo mein over the sink, and I decided I was never going to do that again. Do what? Want something and then talk myself out of it. He looked at her. So when I found out about this retreat, she said, and I found out you were going to be here, I decided I was going to say hi, and see what happened, and not talk myself out of it. And that's what this is. That's what this is. And you're not, he stopped. You're not just because of the loneliness, because I can't. Claire, I can't be somebody's what? Somebody's cure. I don't have anything extra. Claire, I'm running on fumes most days. I don't have anything left over to... Ethan. I mean it, Ethan. I'm not asking you for anything extra. I don't need a cure. I don't need you to fix my loneliness. I've been lonely. I know how to be lonely. I'm very good at it. What I want to know the man who lives 3 doors down from me, who I've been watching from across a fence for 2 years. That's all I want. To know you. And to let you know me. If that turns into something, it turns into something. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But I'm not putting my life on your shoulders, Ethan. I wouldn't do that to you. I wouldn't do that to your kid. He breathed out, a long, long breath, like he'd been holding it since she sat down. I'm scared, Claire. I know you are. I don't do this. I know. I haven't. Claire, I haven't wanted anything for 3 years. I made a decision. I turned it off. I'm not supposed to. What? You said supposed to. By whose rules, Ethan? Who decided you're not supposed to? He didn't have an answer. Nobody decided that, Claire said. You decided that because it was easier to decide than to feel. I know because I decided the exact same thing, 9 years ago, and we were both wrong. We were both wrong. Yeah. He sat there. He thought about Sarah's text. Must be nice. He thought about Lily in the tub with her bubbles. He thought about Claire standing in her own backyard in the dark in shoes she'd put on to come say hi to him and then taking them back off. Claire? Yeah, if we do this, whatever this is, I need you to know something. Okay. Lily is first. I know that. No, I mean it. Lily is first, Lily is second, and Lily is third. There is no universe where she isn't. If it's ever a choice between her and anything else, she wins. Every time. No discussion. Ethan. I'm serious. I know you are, and I agree. That's not even something we have to negotiate. That kid is 7, and she's been through more than most grown men I know. Of course she's first. Of course she is. If you weren't telling me that I'd be out. Okay? Okay. Okay. So stop treating it like a condition I might not accept. Of course I accept it. It's the whole reason I'm even sitting here. He laughed. It came out wet. God, I haven't had a conversation like this in, I know, in 3 years, 4 months, and don't do the math, Ethan. I know the number. Don't do the math. Okay. She reached over. This time her hand did land on his. She laced her fingers into his slowly, like she was giving him every chance to pull back. And when he didn't, she just held on. His eyes burned. He did not cry. He did not cry. But his eyes burned, and he leaned his head back against the bench, and he closed his eyes, and he let her hold his hand, and for a full minute, he didn't say a word. When he opened his eyes, she was watching him. You okay? She said. No. Fair. But I'm here. I see you here, sailor. He let out a breath. What now? He said. Now. Claire said, you go upstairs and you go to sleep, because your daughter's going to wake up at 7 and she's going to want pancakes. And you and I, we've got 3 more days at this resort. And we're going to figure out the rest of it when we figure it out. That easy. It's not easy at all, but it's simple. Claire. Yeah. Thank you. Don't thank me yet, Ethan. We haven't done anything hard yet. He squeezed her hand. She squeezed back. He stood up. She didn't. She tipped her face up to look at him, and for a long second he just stood there looking down at her, and he didn't know what he was going to do. He leaned down. He kissed her forehead. That was all. One kiss. Right in the middle of her forehead, the way he kissed Lily goodnight. Good night, Claire. Good night, Ethan. He walked back across the pool deck. His legs were not entirely his own. His hands were shaking a little. He rode the elevator up alone, and he walked down the hall alone, and he let himself quietly into the room where his daughter was sleeping in a bubble of clean sheets and nightlight glow. He sat down on the edge of his own bed. He didn't turn the light on. He put his face in his hands. He didn't cry, but his shoulders shook once hard, the way shoulders do when something in a man has finally given a little. Finally moved. Finally loosened after a long, long time of being locked. And across the hall 2 floors down, Claire Morgan walked into her own room and sat on the edge of her own bed and did exactly the same thing. He slept. Actually slept. First real sleep in weeks, maybe months. Lily had to shake him awake at 7:15, and when he sat up, she was already dressed. Daddy, pancakes. Baby, give Daddy 5. You slept past me, Daddy. You never sleep past me. I know. Come here. She climbed up onto the bed. He pulled her into a hug that was tighter than he usually let himself do at this hour, and she didn't complain, and she didn't squirm, and for a minute she just let him hold her. Daddy. Yeah, baby. Why are you squeezing so hard? Because I love you. Okay. A pause. I love you too. Pancakes. He laughed into her hair. Pancakes. They went down for breakfast, and Claire was already at a table by the window. She had 2 menus in front of her, and a cup of coffee, and her reading glasses, on which he'd never seen her wear before, and when she looked up and saw them, she took the glasses off and folded them. "Miss Claire." Lily was already running. "Morning. Formidable. Can I sit next to you?" "You may." "Daddy, Miss Claire saved us seats." "I see that baby." He slid in across from them. Claire's eyes went to his, held moved on. A little nod. Not a performance, not a secret, just a morning hello between two people who'd stood in a pool deck the night before and agreed to try. The conversation was about pancakes for a while, then about whether Lily was going to try a plain pancake or a blueberry pancake, or controversially, a chocolate chip pancake. Claire argued for blueberry. Ethan argued for plain. Lily, who had already decided on chocolate chip before she sat down, accepted her victory gracefully. "What's the plan today?" Claire asked, stirring her coffee. "Session at 10, Ethan said. "Then lunch, then I'm free until 4. "Kayaks, kayaks," Lily said immediately, mouth full of chocolate chip. "Lily chew. Chewing daddy." "She's been asking about kayaks since we got here," Ethan said. "Then kayaks it is." Claire smiled. "I'll meet you at the rental shack at 1:30. And that was the whole negotiation. It was that simple. And maybe that was the thing Ethan kept getting caught on through the rest of the day, how simple it turned out to be, once both people had decided to stop pretending. He'd been telling himself for 3 years that anything beyond survival was going to be hard and complicated and require paperwork and therapy and long conversations he didn't have the energy for. And instead, it was just this. Someone saving you a seat at breakfast. Someone meeting you at the kayak rental at 1:30. The kayak afternoon went longer than it should have. Lily capsized twice on purpose and once by accident. Claire laughed so hard at the third one that she almost capsized her own kayak, and Ethan had to paddle over and steady her, and she grabbed his arm to balance, and she didn't let go right away, and neither did he. "Careful, sailor." "I've got you, Claire." "I can see that." Lily, floating on her back 10 feet away, yelled something about a starfish, and the moment stretched and broke and rearranged itself into the next moment, and they kept paddling. That night was dinner and dessert, and Lily falling asleep in Claire's lap on the beach, while the three of them watched the sun go down. Claire didn't move for 45 minutes. She just kept one hand on Lily's back, and talked quietly with Ethan about nothing about her mother's garden back in Virginia, about his first deployment, about the difference between good coffee and great coffee, about whether dogs actually dreamed. At one point, Ethan realized he'd been holding her free hand for half an hour without consciously deciding to, and he didn't let go, and she didn't either. "Claire." "Yeah." "I was gonna panic about this. Now, right now, I was gonna panic. But you're not." "I'm not." "Huh. Yeah." She looked at him in the gold light. "Welcome to it, Ethan." "To what?" "To not panicking. It's weird." "It is weird. I don't trust it." "You don't have to trust it. You just have to let it happen." He was quiet a while. Lily's back rose and fell under Claire's hand. "I thought this was gonna hurt more." "Loving somebody." He didn't answer right away. Then, "I didn't say that word." "I know. I'm not saying that word yet." "I know, Ethan. I'm way ahead of you. It's fine." He laughed softly. "You're way ahead of me." "I've been ahead of you for 2 years, sailor. You're just catching up." He turned his hand and laced his fingers through hers properly and held on. "I thought it was gonna hurt more," he said again. "Sometimes it does. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it's a whole lot of sitting on a beach and watching a 7-year-old sleep in your lap." That's a good definition. I'm making it up as I go. It's still good. They got Lily up to the room around 9. She woke up enough to brush her teeth and complain about brushing her teeth, and then she was out again face down in her pillow, a mint chip smear still at the corner of her mouth that Ethan cleaned off with his thumb. He stood in the doorway of the room. Claire was in the hallway. "Coffee tomorrow," she said. "Early, before she wakes up. I'll bring it down to the beach." "Claire, you don't—" "I know I don't have to." "Yeah, okay. 6:30. 6:30. Good night." "Good night, Ethan." She leaned up and kissed his cheek. It was the first time she'd done that. Just a kiss dry and warm on the cheekbone, not far from his mouth, but not on it either. "Don't make it weird," she whispered. "I'm not. You're about to. I can tell." "I am not about to. Good night, Ethan." She walked off down the hall. He watched her go. He did not make it weird. He closed the door. The last 2 days of the retreat moved fast. They always do, he thought later, the part of a vacation where you start counting backward from the end. He had a morning session Thursday, but he cut out early. Claire did too. They met on the beach with Lily between them, and they walked the length of it twice, and Lily collected more shells than any one child should be allowed to collect, and they stopped at the little concession stand and bought bad coffee and worse pastries, and sat at a plastic table overlooking the water for an hour. Somewhere around mid-morning on that last full day, Ethan's phone rang. It was Sarah. He stared at it for a second. Then he stood up from the plastic table. "I gotta take this." Claire nodded. She didn't ask. She just pulled Lily closer to her side and started asking her about the shells. Ethan walked down the beach far enough to be out of earshot. "Hey." "Hey, Ethan? Is she around?" She's with a friend. I can get her." "A friend?" "Claire, our neighbor. Lily's gotten close to her on this trip." A pause on the other end. "Oh. Yeah. That's Ethan, that's nice. For her." "Yeah. Is she—" Sarah stopped. Started again. "Is she happy?" "She's really happy, Sarah." "Good." He waited. "Ethan, Sarah. "Yeah. It's okay. Let me just get her." "Okay." He didn't wait for her to say anything else. He walked back up the beach. Lily was showing Claire a shell that was apparently the one that was going to beat all the other shells. Claire was nodding with great seriousness. "Lilybug, your mom's on the phone." Lily looked up. Her whole face changed for a second, brightened, then guarded, then neutral, the way it always did when Sarah called. "Okay, Daddy." She took the phone and wandered a few feet off, saying, "Hi, Mommy," with the voice she saved for Sarah. Ethan sat down next to Claire. "She okay?" Claire asked quietly. "She'll be okay." "Are you okay?" "Yeah." He surprised himself. "Yeah, actually. I am." "That's new." "Yeah." Lily talked to Sarah for 11 minutes. Ethan timed it. Then she came back and handed him the phone and said, "Mommy wants to talk to you," and walked off to show Claire another shell. He put the phone to his ear. "Yeah. Ethan. I'm here." Sarah paused. She sounds really good." "She's a good kid." "I know she is." "Yeah." "Ethan." Sarah's voice did the thing it used to do, the tight thing. I know I haven't been. I just want you to know I see it. You're doing a really good job with her." He didn't answer right away. 3 years, 4 months and 14 days, he'd been waiting to hear her say that, or something like it in any form. He'd rehearsed what he'd say back. He'd had speeches. He'd had speeches, Claire. He'd had rage. He'd had grief. He'd had cold quiet, cutting sentences he'd practiced in the shower. He didn't use any of them. "Thanks, Sarah." "That's it." "Yeah, that's it. Thank you." A pause. "Take care of her, Ethan." "I will. I always will." "I know." She hung up. He stood there with the phone in his hand for a long moment. Then he walked back over to Claire and Lily. Claire looked at him carefully. "You good?" "Yeah." "Really good. Really good, Claire." She searched his face. Whatever she found there seemed to satisfy her, because she just nodded and handed him his coffee. The last night at the resort, they did the thing they'd been doing all week: dinner together, ice cream, the walk back to the room. But this time, when Lily was asleep, Claire didn't go down to the lobby. She came in. Ethan left the door cracked. They sat on the little balcony, and they didn't touch much, and they didn't say all that much either, because the things that needed to be said had mostly been said. "I'm not going to introduce her to anyone," Ethan said eventually. "Not for a long time." "Introduce her to anyone. Like to somebody, as my girlfriend, like this." "Ethan, she already knows me." That's yeah. I'm already introduced. I know, I just mean, I know what you mean. And I agree. No titles. No Miss Claire is my daddy's girlfriend. Not yet. Not until you and I have done a whole lot of boring life stuff together back in the real world, and we know this is what it is. Yes. We're in the same place on that. Good. Ethan? Yeah. It's gonna be weird back home. I know. The street has a gravity, like I said. I remember. We have to be careful about that. Not because we're doing anything wrong, just because it's the kind of thing the neighborhood will want to have an opinion about, and we don't owe the neighborhood an opinion. Agreed. And Lily tells everyone everything. She does. So we have to be thoughtful. Yeah. But Ethan. Yeah. I'm not going to pretend. If I see you in the yard, I'm going to wave. If you need banana bread, I'm going to bring banana bread. If Lily wants to come over and watch something with me, she comes over. We're not going to perform nothing. No, we're not. Good. They sat a while. How does it work? He said eventually. Practically. Monday. I get home. You get home. And then what? Then I come say hi. Just like that. Just like that. And Tuesday. Tuesday you come over to my house and fix that gate on my back fence that you've been meaning to mention for a year and a half. I have been meaning to mention that. I know. Mrs. Henley told me. God. And I make you dinner. And Lily. Lily can come. Lily will come. Lily will come. She's part of the package. I knew that when I put the shoes on that first time. He breathed out. And then, he said, and then we see Ethan. We just see. One day at a time. Boring life stuff. Boring good life stuff. No dramatic promises. No big declarations. You come home from work. I come home from work. Sometimes we eat dinner together. Sometimes we don't. Lily's room has a spare toothbrush at my place eventually. I have a key to yours eventually. We go slow. We go really slow. And in a year, who knows? A year? Or more. Or more. Yeah, sailor, or more. I told you, I don't hurry. He nodded. I'm scared of screwing it up, he said. You won't. You don't know that. Ethan? The man I watched across a fence for 2 years, who cuts his grass the way his father did and waves at the neighborhood kids and carries his daughter's backpack when she pretends she doesn't need him to. That man is not going to screw this up. That man is going to be careful and solid and kind, because he's careful and solid and kind. I am not worried about you screwing it up. What are you worried about? She thought about it. I'm worried, she said slowly, that I'll forget how to let somebody in. That I'll go back to the street and my routines, and I'll get scared, and I'll start being the Claire Morgan from before, the one who doesn't open the door. That's what I'm worried about. Claire. Yeah. You already opened the door. I know. You walked through it yourself. I know. I know me. Then I'll remind you. She looked at him. You'll remind me. Yeah, if you start pulling back. I'll remind you. I'll knock on your door with bad coffee. I'll make my kid give you a shell. I don't know, Claire. I'll figure it out. But I won't let you go back, if that's okay with you. She was quiet for a long time. That's okay with me, Ethan. Okay. Okay. They sat in the dark on that little balcony with Lily's soft breathing audible through the sliding door behind them, and they didn't say anything else. They didn't need to. The drive home Sunday morning was long, 11 hours back the way they'd come. Lily fell asleep around hour 3 and stayed asleep for 2 hours, and Ethan drove and didn't turn the radio on, and when he glanced in the rearview mirror at her little sleeping face, he did not feel the weight he usually felt. Not less love. The love was the same. But less weight. Less loneliness in it. Claire had left Saturday afternoon ahead of them. She had a flight instead of a drive. But she'd texted him twice already. Once to say she landed. Once to say, welcome back. Nothing flashy. No emojis. Just, welcome back, sailor. He pulled into the driveway on Juniper Lane a little after 8 at night. The porch light was on. He hadn't turned the porch light on when he left. He looked across the yard 3 doors down, and the kitchen light at Claire's was on. Lily stirred in the back. "Daddy, are we home?" "We're home, baby." "Miss Claire." "What, sweetheart? Is she home too?" He looked across the yards. "Yeah, baby, she's home." "Good." He carried her inside. He put her to bed. He unloaded the car. He took the trash out even though it wasn't trash day, because he wanted a reason to stand in the driveway for a minute. Claire came out of her house about 4 minutes after he did. She walked down to her mailbox. She pretended to check her mail. She did not have any mail. "Ethan?" "Claire." "Welcome home." "Thank you." "Lily asleep." "Out cold." "How was the drive?" "Long." "Pancakes tomorrow morning, my place, 7. "Pancakes." "Pancakes. 7. 7. "Ethan." "Yeah." "Go to bed." "Going." She turned and walked back up to her porch. He watched her go. He went back inside. He sat on the edge of Lily's bed for a long minute watching her sleep, and he thought about the whole week, and about the bikini strap on the towel, and about You Don't Have to Look Away, and about a woman who put on shoes in her own backyard and then took them off again. He thought about Sarah too, about take care of her Ethan, and he realized something: the sentence didn't have teeth in it anymore. It didn't cut. It was just a thing his ex-wife had said. Words in the world, not a wound. He stood up. He kissed the top of Lily's head. He went to his own room. He plugged in his phone. He lay down. He slept. 6 months later, on a Saturday in October, Lily Brooks stood in Claire Morgan's kitchen on a stool drying dishes while Claire washed. They were arguing about whether ghosts were real. Lily said yes. Claire said she kept an open mind. Ethan stood in the doorway watching them, a man with a coffee cup in one hand and a dish towel over his shoulder, and he thought, this is what it was supposed to look like. Not Sarah. Not the life he'd tried to build and watched pack itself into a U-Haul. Not the 3 years of silent survival. Not any of it. This. A Saturday morning. A kid on a stool. A woman at the sink. Coffee getting cold in his hand because he'd gotten distracted watching them the way he kept getting distracted watching them even now, even months in. "Daddy?" "Yeah, baby." "Miss Claire says ghosts might be real." "Miss Claire is a wise woman." "Daddy, you're supposed to say ghosts are real." "I'm not lying to you, Lilybug." "Ugh," Claire laughed. "I told you he'd say that." Lily rolled her eyes with the full dramatic commitment of an almost 8-year-old. "Grown-ups are the worst." "We are baby." Miss Claire tell him grown-ups are the worst. "Lily, your dad already knows." Ethan walked over. He set his cup down. He put one hand on his daughter's back and one hand briefly on the small of Claire's. Claire didn't turn. She just leaned into it for half a second, and then she went back to the dishes. He stood there between them. And Ethan Brooks, 41 years old, chief petty officer, father of one, a man who had spent 3 years, 4 months, and 26 days telling himself he wasn't allowed to want anything, understood that he had stopped keeping track of the days some time back. He didn't know exactly when. He didn't need to. He had looked once on a beach at a woman who told him he didn't have to look away. And he hadn't. And that had been enough to change everything.